Hello, dear students. Welcome back to the online session. Myself, Jojish, your English teacher. How are you, children? I hope you all are fine. First of all, I wish you a belated Happy New Year. By the grace of God, we could reopen the school, and some of the students are already reached. And the remaining students who are unable to reach the school, we are continuing you with the online classes. So let us pray to God to give prosperous health and good life to this 2021 for this new year, for this full year, to give prosperous and health. So here I am standing in front of you with a new lesson from English Honeysuckle textbook, that is lesson number 10, the banyan tree. So before going to the lesson, just you think what you have learned in the previous session in English. Mary Miss has taken a poem from Honeysuckle, that is the wonderful words. So in that wonderful word, you learned the power of words. Very clearly, you have learned the power of words in that poem. And when we come to the Honeysuckle 9th lesson, the desert animals. When you studied the desert animals, you have seen so many animals which lives in desert, especially mongoose, snake, and sheep of the desert, that is camel. Their lifestyle, how they adjusted their life in the scorching sun, you have learned in the 9th lesson in desert animals. Why I want to tell this desert animals chapter here? When we study about this 10th lesson from Honeysuckle textbook, there is little connection with 9th lesson, because the main attraction is there in that chapter, the mongoose and the snake. So you have learned in the 9th lesson that a mongoose can fight with the snakes and kill. So that attraction is coming in the 10th lesson of Honeysuckle textbook. So here the main attraction is, or the main focus is going to the fight between mongoose and cobra. So you might have heard or you might have seen in TV or sometime in real the fight between mongoose and cobra. And this chapter is written in two parts. So the name of the chapter, that the banyan tree. First part, it is telling about the speciality of the banyan tree. And the second part is telling about the fight between mongoose and cobra. And this chapter is written by the famous author, that is Ruskin Bond. So Ruskin Bond. So let us know something about the author Ruskin Bond. After that, let us move to the lesson. Ruskin Bond was born on 19 May 1934 in Punjab. He has written over 500 short stories, essays, and novels. His popular novel is The Blue Umbrella. The Blue Umbrella is a popular novel for this particular author, Ruskin Bond, and he wrote more than 50 books for children. So most of the stories are from his personal experience. He has written so many stories, novels, short stories, everything. So most of them are from his personal experience. And the famous novel, The Blue Umbrella, later came to a film, Hindi film, and already there. So remember, he has written his stories, most of the stories from his personal experience. And here we are going to study a story, that is Banyan Tree, also written by the same author. And this story also he has written from his personal experience. So that we are going to learn here. So before moving to the chapter, one description is there in page number 124 about the fight between mongoose and the cobra. So let us read the description first. After that, explanation of the lesson. The fight of the cobra and the mongoose is a classic drama often seen in India, and the outcome is largely the same. The mongoose is not immune to the venomous bite, but is faster and quicker in motion than the snake. The cobra assumes a posture of defense and attempts to reach the animal by a sweeping strike, but the quick-moving mongoose jumps out of reach and comes at the snake from another direction before the snake can get into striking position again. This constant movement tires and discourages the snake, and the mongoose is finally able to leap in close and bury its teeth in the snake's neck, usually severing the joints of its vertebrae. So this is the short description about the fight between mongoose and the cobra. So the fight between mongoose and the cobra is a classical drama often seen in India, and largely the outcome is same. So what will be the outcome? The mongoose will be able to kill the snake. So how mongoose can kill the snake? We know the snake, it will be very poison. Snake will be having poison, and it can strike with the speed of light. So how mongoose can escape? Because the faster movement. Mongoose can move very fast. Because of the faster movement, mongoose can easily kill the snake. So that description is given there. So when snake is striking the mongoose, it will be moving one side and another side. So that fast movement, finally the snakes get tired. That chance he will be utilizing to kill the snake. So that is the result largely will be the same. The mongoose can able to kill the snake. So here I have brought you so many images to show you about this chapter, mongoose and cobra. So I will be showing you so many images while we explain the lesson. So all of you take your page number 125 and part number 1. You must have seen a banyan tree. This is a story about what the author saw as a young boy when he was sitting in an old banyan tree in his grandfather's house. So this is a story about banyan tree, and what the author has seen by sitting on a banyan tree, he has written in this as a story. Who is our author? He is Ruskin Bond. In the beginning only I told Ruskin Bond has written most of his stories from his personal experience. So this is also one of his personal experience when he was a young child. So he was staying with his grandparents. So when he was staying with his grandparents, he could see something by sitting on a banyan tree. That he explained here. Okay. Part number 1. Though the house and grounds belonged to my grandparents, the magnificent old banyan tree was mine, chiefly because grandfather at 65 could no longer climb it. So Ruskin Bond, the particular author, when he was a small boy, he was staying with his grandfather. So he tells everything belongs to grandparents. Land, house, everything belongs to grandparents, but the old banyan tree is mine. The boy is telling that this old banyan tree is mine because grandfather is at 65, could no longer climb it. That's why I can climb and I can stay my time. I can stay there. I can spend my time there by sitting on the tree. So this banyan tree is mine. He is considering like that. Its spreading branches, which hung to the ground and took root again, forming a number of twisting passages, gave me endless pleasure. Among them were squirrels and snails and butterflies. The tree was older than the house, older than grandfather, as older as Dehradun itself. I could hide myself in its branches, behind thick green leaves, and spy on the world below. The boy is telling that its spreading branches, the banyan tree. You might have heard about the banyan tree before. When we explained about the lesson 7, fair play, we already told about the banyan tree. The people or the villagers, when they want to make a village panchayat, they used to gather under banyan tree. So there also the banyan tree has much more influence among people. So here I have brought you an picture about the banyan tree because it has too much twisting passages. You can see here a banyan tree, too much twisting passages are here. So this is banyan tree. So it's spreading branches will be spreading, and from there it takes root again. So it will be spreading down. From there it can take the roots again. So these are it's very big tree, and will be having shade under this. So people can sit and talk and take decision. So banyan tree has much more influence. So this is the speciality of the banyan tree. So those who hide there, those who sit on the tree, it is unable to see those who are watching from the ground. So it has much more twisting passages, leaves, and so many passages are there. That's why squirrels, snails, and butterflies and different animals will be living in this particular banyan tree. So many twisting passages are there. You can see this. And what the boy is telling that I could hide between the branches or between the leaves and spy the world. So if he is in a high position now, that's why by sitting on the tree, we also feel that by looking around, everything can be visible. So the old banyan tree was very old, he is telling here. My first friend was a small gray squirrel, arching his back and sniffing into the air. He seemed at first to resent my invasion of his privacy. But when he found that I did not arm myself with catapult or air gun, he became friendly. And when I started bringing him pieces of cake and biscuit, he grew quite bold and was soon taking morsels from hand. Before long, he was delving into my pockets and helping himself to whatever he could find. He was a very young squirrel, and his friends and relatives probably thought him foolish and headstrong for trusting a human. Next paragraph, it is telling that next is the boy is telling that my first friend was a gray squirrel. Okay, my first friend was a gray squirrel. So first of all, when I saw the squirrel, I went nearby that. So what happened automatically? The squirrel ran away because of the fear. The squirrel thought that this particular boy is coming with a air gun or something catapult or to attack. That's why he ran away. But later what happened? The boy started to bring pieces of cake, biscuits, everything. So finally the squirrel came to know that this boy is not coming to attack. Instead, he is coming to feed and makes me as a friend. By understanding that, the squirrel became friendly. And later, before it was very little far away, and it came nearby, little more nearby, and now finally he started to take the food items from his hand. So that much close friendship was there with the boy and squirrel. Squirrel became very friendly, and more that the squirrel started to take or search the pocket itself. Okay, that much friendly. So the friendly squirrel started to search his pocket. So here one picture is there. See this is our boy, and here the squirrel is there. So by sitting on the tree, he can see the squirrel, and he wants to make him friendly, but the squirrel was afraid of him. Later, he started to bring piece of cake and biscuits. Finally, he became very close. See the distance of squirrel and boy in the first picture, and the second picture when he became friendly, it became very close. So that's why he started to bring piece of cake and biscuits. So that was the first friend. The boy is explaining my first friend was a gray squirrel, and he came near to me when I started to bring him piece of cake and biscuits. But other squirrels probably told he is a foolish because he is believing in human. He believes human. That's why he thought they told him he is a foolish. Next paragraph. In the spring, when the banyan tree was full of small red figs, birds of all kinds would flock into its branches. The red-bottomed bulbul, cheerful and greedy parrots, myna and crows squabbling with one another. During the fig season, the banyan tree was the noisiest place in the garden. So in the fig season, so full of red figs will be there in the banyan tree. So banyan tree will give red figs in the spring season. So when the full of fruits are there, different kinds of birds will come. because they want to get the fruit. So the squirrels will be always there, and myna will come, parrots will come, crow will come, and bulbul will come. Everything will come, and the author is telling that during the fig season, the banyan tree is the noisiest place in the garden, because the birds will be squabbling each other. That means they will be fighting each other, quarreling each other, and the full sound will be there, because they are sharing their fruits, they are taking the fruit. So during the fig season, the banyan tree will be full of fig fruits. That's why all kinds of birds will be gathered there to collect. That's why the banyan tree will be the noisiest place during the fig season, told by our author Ruskin Bond. Halfway up the tree, I had built a crude platform where I would spend the afternoons when it was not too hot. I could read there, propping myself up against the tree with a cushion from the living room. Treasure Island, Huckleberry Finn, and the story of Dr. Dolittle were some of the books that made up my banyan tree library. So next what happened? The boy made the banyan tree as a banyan tree library. What is that? Banyan tree library. Banyan tree library. He made banyan tree as a banyan tree library. How he made the banyan tree library? He brought a cushion from the living room. Cushion we are using on the sofa or on the chair, we will keep the cushion. So one of the cushion he brought from the living room, and he kept top of the banyan tree. So there was a branches, there was comfortable branches were there to lean and to sit there. So he brought some of the books from the library and kept here and kept on the tree. And he made as a crude platform there. And he made a crude platform, and he made a banyan tree library on this banyan tree. Here you can see the picture that this is the boy made the crude platform, and he brought cushion from the living room and leaning there, and he used to read so many library books. So whenever he feels boring, he used to go up the tree and sat there comfortably and read the library books. That was the daily activity of this child. When I did not feel like reading, I could look down through the leaves at the world below. And no one particular afternoon, I had a grandstand view of that classic of the Indian wives, the fight between a mongoose and a cobra. From the beginning only, I told this chapter is divided into two parts. The first part is telling about the speciality of the banyan tree. The second part is telling about the fight between mongoose and cobra. So in the first part, the end of the first part, the boy is telling that when I am not feeling like reading, actually he made the banyan tree as a banyan tree library. How he took cushion from the living room and kept on there, and he made a crude platform there. Some of the library books he kept there, and he used to read the library books by sitting on the tree. So when he was not feeling like to read, or when he was feeling boring to read, he will be simply sitting there and looking the world around. So he will be in the top. That's why by sitting on the top, he can see what all things are happening down. So when he was not ready to, or when he was feeling lazy to read, he will be looking around the world. So one day when he was looking like that, the classic drama we have already told, the fight between mongoose and cobra, he could see by sitting on the tree. So mongoose and cobra came down, and the fight, that particular fight, he could see by sitting on the tree. That is going to explain in the part number 2. The warm breezes of approaching summer had sent everyone, including the gardener, into the house. I was feeling drowsy myself, wondering if I should go to the pond and have a swim with the Ramu and the buffaloes. When I saw a huge black cobra gliding out a clump of cactus. At the same time, a mongoose emerged from the bushes and went straight to the cobra. So what happened here? When he was sitting on the tree, feeling lazy, he thought in mind that I will go with my friend Ramu, who is having so many buffaloes, and this afternoon he will be in the pond by giving bath to the buffalo. So I could join with him. So he was ready to move. Suddenly, when he was ready to move, he could see a cobra is coming out from the clump of cactus, and from the bushes one mongoose is coming. Cobra is coming from right side and the mongoose is coming from left side, and they are coming to face. So when he was ready to move out, he could see this one and he stayed up on the tree. What was going to happen? He wanted to know what is going to happen there. So he stayed on the tree. The mongoose and the cobra came face to face on the ground. In clearing beneath the banyan tree in bright sunshine, they came face to face. The cobra knew only too well that the grey mongoose, 3 feet long, was a superb fighter, clever and aggressive. But the cobra, too, was a skillful and experienced fighter. He could move swiftly and strike with the speed of light, and the sacks behind his long, sharp fangs were full of deadly poison. It was to be a battle of champions. And here in this paragraph, it is telling about the speciality of mongoose and the cobra. From one side, cobra is coming. From another side, mongoose is coming. So who is there on the top of the tree? Our author is there, Skimbo. So he was sitting on the tree and watching all these things. From one side, cobra is coming. From another side, mongoose is coming. They came to face. So both are equal. That means mongoose is having his own speciality as well as cobra is having its own speciality. So what was speciality of mongoose? It was very bold and aggressive and was very skillful. As well as cobra, it can strike the speed of light, it can move very swiftly, and the important thing that the deadly poison is there. Okay, it is always carrying the deadly poison. So that was the important speciality of the cobra. So here you can see the images. See, this is a cobra and this is a mongoose. So mongoose and cobra both have its own speciality. Okay, so they came straight to straight. They came straight to straight, and you can see this in the images. Hissing defiance, his forked tongue darting in and out, the cobra raised 3 of his 6 feet off the ground and spread his broad spectacled hood. The mongoose bushed his tail. The long hair on his spine stood up. So the snake was 6 feet long. From the 6 feet, 3 feet he raised up. That is shown in the picture. The 3 feet is raised. So it was 6 feet long and 3 feet it raised. And the mongoose, and it was showing the tongue darting in and out. You might have seen how the snakes will do. The forked tongue will be there. Tongue will be in the fork shape, and it will be darting in and out, taking inside, taking out, inside, taking out, again taking inside. So this was the actions. So 3 feet he raised up the ground, and the speciality was there for mongoose also. He bushed his tail. Okay, so he bushed his tail because the tail became very thick. That's the indication it showed the mongoose also was very angry. Though the combatants were unaware of my presence in the tree, they were soon made aware of the arrival of 2 other spectators. One was a myna, the other a jungle crow. They had seen these preparations for battle and had settled on the cactus to watch the outcome. Had they been content only to watch, all would have been well with both of them. So when these 2 animals, snake and cobra, snake and mongoose, when they were going to fight each other, 2 spectators, that means a person who watch all the things, visitors came to watch the fight. Who are those visitors? One is jungle crow, another one is myna. And one more visitor was there, that is our author, is Rasmimon sitting on the tree. So the snakes and mongoose did not see the author who is sitting on the tree. But the snake and mongoose saw other 2 spectators, one myna and one jungle crow, who came to watch the fight. The cobra stood on the defensive, swaying slowly from side to side, trying to mesmerize the mongoose into making a false move. But the mongoose knew the power of his opponent's glassy, unwinking eyes, had refused to meet them. Instead, he fixed his gaze at a point just below the cobra's foot and opened the attack. So this picture I have shown that this is the readiness for the fight. So mongoose is looking the spectacle hood. Here he is looking, and the cobra is looking the movement of the mongoose. So they were ready to attack. So the cobra knows that he is very skillful, as the mongoose knows this cobra is very having deadly poison. So attack should be in a perfect way. Otherwise, the mongoose will be getting the poison. So mongoose is looking this particular area, the spectacle hood, and they opened the attack. Moving forward quickly until he was just within the cobra's reach, the mongoose made a pretended move to one side. Immediately, the cobra struck. His great hood came down so swiftly that I thought nothing could save the mongoose, but the little fellow jumped neatly to one side and darted in as swiftly as the cobra, biting the snake on the back and darting away again out of reach. So when they opened their attack, they started to attack each other. So what is the position of cobra? Cobra will be swaying from one side to another, and the mongoose will be looking the spectacle hood. So what the mongoose did? Mongoose made a pretended move. Actually, it did not move. It made a false move. So the snake thought that mongoose is moved that direction. So the snake struck. The whole hood came down. So that time what happened? The mongoose came in this way, moving back and giving a bite and coming to the real position. So that was a movement of mongoose. It will make a pretended move or false move to make snake fool. So the snake will think that the mongoose is really moving to that side, it will strike. But the mongoose will come back to the other side, going through back and biting in the hood and going back to the real place. That was the actions done by the mongoose. At the same time, at the same moment that the cobra struck, the crow and the myna hurled themselves at him only to collide heavily in mid-air. Shrieking insult at each other, they returned to the cactus plant. A few drops of blood glistened on the cobra's back. So when these mongoose and cobra fight each other, the two spectators, who are the two spectators, myna and the jungle crow, they come in the mid-air. They will be colliding in the mid-air and they will be giving disturbance for these two fighters and will be coming to the real place. So whenever mongoose giving a bite to the cobra, these two birds will be coming in the mid-air and they will be making some drama there and going back to the place. The cobra struck and missed. Again, the mongoose sprang aside, jumped in and bit. Again, the birds dived at the snake, bumped into each other, the snake, and returned shrieking to the safety of the cactus. So every time this is only happening, mongoose will be making a pretended move one side. The snakes will strike there. The mongoose will be coming to the another direction and biting and going back. The same time, the myna and the crow will be coming in the mid-air and making some drama and going back. So this is a picture of the mongoose and cobra. You can see. Even if the snakes coil the mongoose in this way also, mongoose can escape. So here see the images or fight between mongoose and cobra. The third round followed the same course as the first bird with one dramatic difference. The crow and the myna, still determined not to take part in the proceedings, dived at the cobra, but this time they missed each other as well as their mark. The myna flew on and reached its perch, but the crow tried to pull up in midair and turned back. In the second that it took the bird to do this, the cobra whipped his head back and struck with a great force, his snout thudding against the crow's body. So when the third round, the first round is over, the second round is over, when they came to the third round for the fighting, there was a small change. Every time this myna and crow will be coming to disturb them. The third time when the fight was going on, the myna and the crow came in between and started to disturb them. But this time they got confused. The myna came back to the place safely, but the crow did not come back. Crow is flying in the midair and giving disturbance to the cobra. The cobra got angry, and by moving side by, he gave a great struck to the crow's body. So he struck to the crow's body. The cobra gave a big struck to the crow's body. I saw the bird flying nearly 20 feet across the garden. It fluttered about for a while, then lay still. The myna remained on the cactus plant, and when the snake and the mongoose returned to the fight, very wisely decided not to interfere again. The cobra was weakening, and the mongoose, walking fearlessly up to it, raised himself on his strong legs, short legs, and with a lightning snap had the big snake by the snout. The cobra writhed and lashed about in a frightening manner, and even coiled itself about the mongoose, but to no avail. The little fellow hung grimly on until the snake had ceased to struggle. He then smelled along its quivering length, gripped it round the hood, and dragged it into the bushes. So here what happened? When he gave a powerful struck to the crow reached 20 feet across the garden. By getting the poison of the snake, the crow died immediately. The author has seen everything from by sitting on the tree, getting strike from the cobra to crow, and crow died there by fluttering a while, shivering a while, and he died. Now the mongoose is becoming very aggressive. The cobra is weakening because whenever the cobra wants to strike the mongoose, it missed. The mongoose will be coming in the different direction and giving a strike to the cobra. So by continuing this action, the cobra is weakening now. So, but the mongoose is not weakening. The mongoose fearlessly walking around by the cobra. So whenever the snake strike, the mongoose missed to the other side. That's why the cobra is weakening. And finally, what happened? The mongoose gave a powerful bite to the cobra. So it gave a bite to the snout and gleamed it on there. The cobra writhed and lashed about in a frightening manner and even collided itself about the mongoose, but no avail. So what happened here in the images you have seen? So first it's coiled like that. After that, when it came back, the mongoose bit here on the spectacle hood. The snake tried to collide it, but it was no success. Finally, the mongoose killed the snakes by biting on the spectacle hood. After that, what it do? It dragged and kept in the bushes. The myna dropped cautiously to the ground, hopped about, peered into the bushes from a safe distance, and then with a shrill cry of congratulation flew away. After this great fight between mongoose and cobra, the mongoose was able to kill the cobra and put it in the bushes. So the myna was remaining there on the cactus because the crow was died by getting the strike from the cobra. So the mongoose, the myna came out from the cactus and looked into the bushes whether the snake is really died or not. When the myna came to know that the snake has died, myna gave a shrill cry of congratulation to mongoose and flew away. So the mongoose was able to kill the snake. So the myna was ready to give a congratulation to mongoose and flew away. So all the stories have seen by, all this drama has seen by our author Ruskin Bond, who was sitting on the tree. So this is the classical drama often seen in India, that is fight between mongoose and cobra. So our author Ruskin Bond was, when he was a young child, he got a chance to see the fight between mongoose and cobra, and he explained those things very beautifully in the 10th lesson of our honeysuckle textbook, the banyan tree. So you have to read the textbook again and again. That's why so many words and meanings have given in the right side, it will help you to understand the lesson more. So you have to read the lesson again and again and use these words and meanings to understand the lesson completely very well. So I hope you will be reading the lesson, and now in this lesson, by seeing all these images, this fight between mongoose and cobra, and I hope you understood this lesson properly and read the lesson again and again. And we will be coming back to take the next lesson. Till then, goodbye.